On this week's show, we pit men of steel against each other in an epic battle right here in the parking lot of Tractor Supply Company. Our contestants will wield torches of flame, two heroes with the amazing power to manipulate steel and even control electricity. Who will be victorious? What will be the outcome of their challenges? Will our hero come to save the show? Can my voice get any higher? Find out as we weld together this episode of Tough Grit. Go! Look out, Agroman, he's right behind you.
Shannon, I've seen you doing a lot of strange things so far. What in the world are you doing out here with a comic book?
Au contraire, my young friend, this is not a comic book. It's a graphic novel. And it's not just a graphic novel, it's research for today's episode.
How is that research for today's episode?
Caleb, this is Agroman. Mild-mannered farmer by day, but by night he fights crime as an agricultural superhero. And in this issue, he's battling his arch enemy, the Wicked Welder, manipulator of molten metal and keeper of the flame.
Well, that all sounds great and fun, but welding is a serious skill that demands careful planning, concentration, and adherence to safety. And we're covering all of that with the help of our experts and the Hobart crew.
And we get to wear masks and tights.
Masks? Yeah. Tights?
Oh, well, it's just as well. These look like they cut off the blood to my legs.
Maybe you wish for lightning speed at some point to get your chores done in a flash.
Ooh, clever. Or maybe you've had to wonder, woman, how am I gonna fix this damaged gate at the back of my pasture? Or maybe you've got a livestock tank that's leaking aqua, man.
Needless to say, at some point we've all found ourselves in need of a little superhuman power to get out of a big pile of, you guessed it, tough grit.
That's where we come to the rescue. I'm Shannon Riley.
And I'm Caleb Regan. Today, we're going to show you how to complete a project, but we're also going to show you some cool tools to help you get it done right the first time.
And we're going to bring in rural neighbors, would-be Iron Men to battle in two challenges. Ready to face some rivalry are today's contestants.
Our first contestant is a lineman for Osage City, Kansas. Meet James Palacio. James enjoys hunting, fishing, and rock crawling. He's married and has a 4-year-old daughter.
If I could give James a superhero name, it would be Invisible Man. Not because that's his power, but because since I've met him, he pretends he can't see me.
And also from Osage City, welcome Nathan Lindsay. Nathan owns 20 acres and raises horses, goats, and chickens. He likes Jeeps and four-wheeling and is a full-time farrier.
I think Nathan must have x-ray vision. The first thing he said to me this morning was, "Don't try any funny business. I can see right through you."
Welcome to Tough Grit.
Yes, gentlemen, welcome. It is time to reveal the secret identity of your project. Your Tough Grit challenge today is to cut metal with a plasma cutter and to do some MIG welding.
Cutting and welding metal is relevant to anyone living the rural lifestyle. Although it requires very specific equipment, especially for safety, it can be useful not only to mend damaged equipment like fences, gates, and such, but also for fabrication.
Our contestants' first task today will be to learn how to use a plasma cutter. This tool can cut through a variety of metals, including steel, and leaves an amazingly smooth edge.
We'll also be doing some MIG welding and creating a finished product, a boot scraper. Knowing some basic metalworking skills allows you to make all kinds of repairs yourself and even create some brand new items for your property.
This may seem like a daunting task, but have no fear, our Tough Grit experts are here.
As always, we have Hank Will, editor-in-chief of Grit Magazine, as the mentor for Team Grit.
Hank really must see me as a superhero. In fact, he keeps asking me to go put on a mask, even when we aren't welding.
And joining us today as the expert for Team Tractor Supply is Mike Enner, store manager from St. Albans, Vermont.
Mike really loves welding. In fact, you could say he's been carrying a torch for it for years.
We also have a special guest today, Shane Welbus from Hobart. Welcome to Tough Grit. Our experts will be giving you advice and coaching you on how to complete your projects accurately, efficiently, and as always, safely. Whichever gentleman does the best in those three categories will walk away with up to a $1,000 gift card at Tractor Supply Company.
Money you could use to build your own fortress of solitude, or a really nice shed.
To help you accomplish your goal, we're providing you with some super tools and equipment today. You'll be using plasma cutters, angle grinders, arc welders, welding gloves, clamps, and most importantly, arc grade eye protection. And of course, all the other great equipment from the Hobart show truck.
Before we soar into challenge number 1, let's get the info from our experts on the plasma cutter. Plasma cutter, kind of sounds like a supervillain's weapon, doesn't it?
James, although a plasma cutter might sound like something out of a science fiction movie, it really operates on a pretty simple principle. Essentially, an electric arc travels from the cutting tip through the metal, heats the metal up to a kind of a molten state, and then the electricity travels to a ground clamp and back to the machine. And essentially it uses then compressed air to blow the molten metal out of the sort of heated area, and you get a nice, smooth, clean cut.
Nathan, the unit we're using today has a nice guide that snaps right on to keep our distance between the metal and the cutting surface accurate every time. It also will run on 115 volt standard household circuit or 230 for the more powerful jobs.
Well, how powerful is it and what can it cut through?
Very powerful. It cuts plate like butter. It'll cut stainless steel, copper, aluminum, not any conductive metal.
The wire feed welder operates on a fairly similar principle to the plasma cutter. In this particular case, you're taking an electric arc that'll jump from the wire that'll be fed continuously at the workpiece. It becomes molten. It causes the metal of the workpiece to become molten. The two sort of melted metals mix together, and when you pull it away, it cools down into a sort of fusion that's much stronger than actually the two base metals were in the first place.
If two pieces of steel are joined by a proper weld method, and they're welded correctly, properly, when you bend this metal to failure, the parent material around the weld will fail before the weld itself will fail. Now, unlike the plasma cutter we were just using earlier, the welder we're using today requires 230 volts. Typically in a shop atmosphere, you'll have 230 volts.
James, the angle grinder is one of the most important accessories you can own if you weld.
What are you going to use it for?
That's a great question. The angle grinder is good for so many different things. You can use it to sort of help shape the edges. Once you've cut the metal, you can smooth the edges a little bit if you want, get rid of some burrs. You can actually even get rid of weld spatter that contaminates other parts of the project.
You can use a grinder in a lot of different applications in welding as well. One of the ways we like to use this is put a nice bevel on the edge of our material. This is going to allow for the weld to penetrate very effectively. There's numerous grinding wheels available throughout the industry. Everything from sharpening our mower blades, cutting rebar, there's cutters, there's bevelers, there's sanders. There's just a real nice assortment of different wheels that will go on the same grinder.
For our first challenge today, our two contestants will be using the 230 volt plasma cutters. We've already marked the shapes to be cut, so now it's just a matter of them keeping a steady hand and making those cuts on the 1/4 inch steel plates.
Accuracy is the key to the steel taming challenge, but safety is important, so listen to your coaches. Good luck to both of you.
Ready, set, go! James is first to start off.
Oh, sparks are flying in our first competition. Oh, we're having a hot time in the old town tonight. They are burning through this first competition.
Perfect speed. Nice. Very nice. Yep. Keep good and steady. You're doing great.
A lot like coloring inside the line, except you're using a really hot crayon. As our two contestants use the power of the plasma cutter to manipulate steel, don't you steal away. There's much more to see on this super-powered edition of Tough Grit.
There was a time when it took a forge, anvil, and heavy hammer to weld ferrous metals together. My great-great-grandfather had a steamboat machine shop on the banks of the Missouri River in North Dakota, and his crew was capable of hammer welding shafts up to several inches in diameter. Wow! As tough as it is for me to imagine that kind of work, the art of fusing metal is one that is every bit as useful as it is enjoyable. For the average do-it-yourself enthusiast, a welder can be used to make repairs, but you may be surprised at how quickly you will put the device to work fabricating something useful, often using scrap materials. And that's where the fun really begins. Today's modern welders, like the wire feed outfits we use today, take much of the guesswork out of feeding metal to the molten pool that forms along the joint. But before you create structures or objects of a nature that failed welds could cause injury or property damage, be sure to read all you can about welding, attend a training session or 3, and practice, practice, practice. Once you get the hang of it, welding will give you a lifetime of fabrication and repair possibilities, and might even help you tick items off the honey-do list in record time.
Welcome back. Team Tractor Supply and Team Grit are busy slicing away with their plasma cutters. The only thing that would make this more exciting is if they were using their laser vision.
Lasers or no lasers, it'll soon be time to see who's made the cleanest, most precise cuts on their 1/4-inch steel plates. Looks like a close contest so far. James getting a little jaggedy on that first piece, on that straight cut. James with his first piece out.
Good catch.
Well, he certainly gets to the point.
I'll be judging this one based almost entirely on accuracy, specifically neatness and overall appearance.
Oh, this next one's gonna be a pain, isn't it?
These plasma cutters are pretty precise, but you have to take care to follow your pattern. I'll take off for any safety infractions because we want to emphasize that this challenge isn't about speed.
Well, he banged that out. That's 2 steaks down.
Real nice lines right there, cutting like butter.
A nice looking cut for Nate.
If this is how you cut your butter at home, your toast must be really hot.
Excellent. Yep, we're done.
Not a race, guys.
It's a piece of art there, a piece of art.
Ain't much I can do with that.
No.
That'll screw it up. I got one notch there, but
I'd say I'd do that one, dude.
This piece turned out real nice.
Thank you.
Real nice.
Great job, gentlemen. That was a hot competition. Well, Caleb, what'd you think?
About as close as it gets. That was a tough one to call. Nate, your cuts actually look a little cleaner, a little prettier than James's, but James's shapes more closely fit the template of the boot scraper. Got to give this one to Team Grit, and James, you just won yourself a $500 gift card to Tractor Supply Company.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, James. You were a metal melting man on a mission. Congratulations. What do you owe your success to?
good equipment worked great.
Excellent. And Nate, how are you going to cut into victory yourself next time?
We'll just see whose welds are strongest.
Well, I look forward to seeing it. Our contestants have successfully completed the first challenge. When we come back, we're going to meet up with Shane, our expert from Hobart, and then it's off to the next challenge, right off the bat, man.
Thanks for staying with us. Right now, our experts from Grit Magazine, Hobart, and Tractor Supply are preparing our contestants for the second challenge.
Let's see if they're ready to don their masks and gloves and tackle the task of molten metal.
So Shane, fusing metal's come a long way in the last century. What are the advantages to MIG welding?
Well, MIG welding uses a shielding gas to protect the weld, and what you get with that is a nice clean weld with low spatter and low smoke, and very little post-weld prep. You can paint right over the weld when you're done.
Is there still a use for the old-fashioned, if we will, stick welder versus all this nice wire feed we're seeing today?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Stick welding is great for dirty, rusty material and heavy machinery. So for your thick, half-inch material, stick welders are still a great choice.
What do you guys have for personal eye protection nowadays?
Well, remember the days of nodding your head and losing your place on your mark? Now we have auto darkening helmets. So you can see what you're doing through the helmet. It's light until you strike an arc, and then it darkens instantaneously. Lightens back up when you're done welding, and you can move to your next spot that you want to weld.
So do you have any tips for us on today's challenge?
Absolutely. When using gas, you're always going to want to push the weld, never drag it. And a few different techniques you can use. Just run a straight bead. You can do a little stitch back and forth. You can do little half moons. It's entirely your choice on how you want to weld.
And now it's time for challenge number 2. Our contestants have to take their pieces and weld them into a useful object, in this case, a boot scraper. Now that may sound simple, but Caleb and Shane are going to hold them to very high standards. After all, they're welding for truth, justice, and the rural American way.
That's right. These welds need to be accurate and look good, but they also need to be strong, of course. This one's all about quality. You'll notice both contestants have on fire retardant jackets, gloves, and welding helmets.
So please, use all the safety gear provided. We don't want anyone getting singed in their tights. Whew. Weld carefully, and good luck.
Ready, set, go! Fire those babies up and get an arc.
It's a quiet start.
Nate has his first piece tacked into place.
I hope one of these guys lifts their helmet and says, "Luke, I am your father."
There.
Good.
Oh, nope, not yet. Nice. Check for your penetration. Nice. Very nice.
How do we look this way?
No cricket still.
All right. Tack it, we can straighten it.
Perfect.
Which one of our welding warriors will wield the winning torch is too soon to tell, so stay tuned to Tough Grit.
Both plasma cutters and arc welders use very powerful electric currents. Being safe is just a matter of common sense and having the right equipment. The welding helmet protects you from heat and sparks, and the lens protects your eyes from the bright arc. Newer lenses with auto adjusting only darken while you're actually welding. The intense light from the arc can do permanent damage to your eyes. So if you're welding near others, work behind a curtain to help protect bystanders. Heavy leather welding gloves will protect your hands from hot sparks and electricity and allow you to handle metal while it's still pretty hot without burning yourself. Personally, I'd rather have a pair with longer sleeves because there's nothing quite as exciting as having that red hot sliver of metal fall right into your glove. While not required, a fire-resistant welding jacket or apron is also a good idea. It will help protect your clothes and skin from sparks. Invest in some decent clamps. They'll make your life much easier when you're trying to tack something together. If you find yourself hauling your welder around to fix your trailer, put up a new latch on the gate, build a rack for the wood pile out back, or any other endless possibility, you might also want to buy or build a cart so you can move your welder and gear easily from project to project.
Welcome back to Tough Grit. Our two contestants are using some basic welding skills to construct two boot scrapers. They'll be judged on how accurately and safely they work.
Who will win and who will feel the fantastic flames of failure?
Let's just see how they're doing, Captain Alliteration.
Hey, good job.
Get a cookie. Some of the points to be watching for are the use of their clamps, being accurate and thorough with the actual welds, and making sure not to rush, but really getting a good quality boot scraper.
Very nice.
So, no time element here. Precision, not speed. Got it. We're gonna see which one of our contestants is better at knocking boots.
Right about there.
Yeah, that's looking great. That's a real nice weld right there.
Nice. Oh, good penetration too. Not too bad.
Beautiful. That's putting down the metal, my friend. That's beautiful. Look at that. Woo!
right, gentlemen, great job. Come on down. You pieced together a great challenge. That was exciting. Now, it's up to our experts to decide who was the winner. What's the verdict, Shane and Caleb?
Well, we ended up with 2 functional boot scrapers. Both of you guys did a good job. We got together. Shane, what do we decide?
Yeah, like you said, they both are really good welds. They're gonna hold up, but it came down to appearance. We're gonna have to give it to Nate.
Congratulations, Nate. You won a $500 gift card from Tractor Supply Company. What did you owe your success to?
Great equipment.
Of course.
James, you also won a $500 gift card from the earlier challenge. What are you gonna get with that?
I think I'm gonna buy me a new Hobart welder.
Of course.
All right. And if you're at home thinking I want a chance at being the greatest rural American hero, fighting for agricultural awesomeness everywhere, here's how you can be a contestant on Tough Grit.
To sign up, go to toughgrit.com and click on the I Can Do That button, or look for the advertisement in Grit Magazine. Don't wait, sign up today.
Well, we hope you've learned a lot about plasma cutters and welding today, and if you'd like to learn more, visit toughgrit.com. I'm glad you could be with us today, and we look forward to seeing you next time. What are you reading there, Shannon?
Well, I thought I'd turn our adventure today into a comic book. I even came up with really cool superhero names for us. Like I'm Super Shannon. And I have a good one for you too. You're Captain Rule America.
I'm Caleb Regan.
And I'm Shannon Riley. And when you see us coming, you know you're in Tough Grit. On next week's episode, we're gonna do a little grooming. We'll meet 2 contestants ready to transform a disheveled driveway into a well-maintained lane. But we're not gonna do some mamby-pamby makeover. Oh, no, sir. This is where tough men take tough machines and teach Mother Nature a thing or two about looking presentable in public. Get ready for grooming on a much larger level, doing a little maintenance on lanes and fields on next week's episode of Tough Grit.